I literally set myself to do not disturb because I keep getting messages from people earlier. I'm like, nope, not now. I don't want to answer messages.
Alright, hold on. We are now streaming. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game Over Chat. This is a series where we will interview a person on the impact gaming has on their lives. Today we have Piecemaker. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, Sevens. It's been a while. It was probably about, like 2 weeks the last time we did something?
Yeah, seems about that time. You want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm just kind of like everyone else here, like an average gamer. Just play whenever you feel like to. I played a lot of shooter games, played platformers like Mario, Crash Bandicoot, Sonic. I like playing third-person games as well, like Armored Core or Gears of War, kind of stuff like that. Just a little bit of everything here and there. Nothing like hardcore all the time, though.
Are you excited about or have you played the new Armored Core game?
Armored Core? Yeah, that's Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely have. It's been a long time for that game series that From Software just kind of just let go for a while, and get back into it is kind of surprising because a lot of people are saying that the stuff that they did in the Dark Souls games has been like upped. Like something that was missing from that is now in that game, even though they're not the same game. They're different continuity.
Yeah. I remember playing. I can't even recall exactly. Like the first one I played was Armored Core Silent Line. I played that, and then Nexus and 4.
4, yeah. I mean, those are some pretty good highlights. Nexus had a big game engine change with the heating. Silent Line had a really deep story, which people said was like the pinnacle before they started changing everything. And Armored Core 4 was just kind of like a soft reboot.
Yeah. I definitely liked Silent Line.
Yeah.
So for those that watch my live streams, I will be resuming actually later today, my typical live stream, but I wanted to try something new, which is Game Over Chat. And so essentially I will be finding a guest today, Peacemaker, and I will be asking our guest the same questions I'll ask the next guest. And it's an idea of getting to know people from different walks of life about gaming. So, Peacemaker, are you ready to give this a try?
Yeah, go for it. I'm open.
All right, here we go. It's going to get a little strange. So I'm going to read this introduction that I'm going to read to all future guests. So here we go. To keep with the ethereal nature of this interview, let us pretend for a second that you have transcended from the current plane to provide your final answers to questions regarding gaming. Imagine, if you will, that this is the final time you can talk about and express what gaming means to you and what it has done throughout your life up until this very moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically, what has it done for you to benefit from playing games, right?
Yeah.
And how it's affected you up to this point.
Yeah. And that's
I'd
for
probably
you.
Yeah, okay. So I would probably have to say it's opened myself up to be more vocal to other people, because like in the past, like when you play games, usually you don't want to play with other people because you're hesitant. I was not too talkative when I was younger, but over time I got better and better with it because I felt comfortable talking with people of similar mind who have interest in this game that you're playing, or similar like subjects. Like if you're playing a dungeon crawler, you meet up with people who also like dungeon crawlers, and you just talk about the games and all that stuff, and then you find out other things you're into.
Yeah.
So that just opens yourself up to people in a way that you can't really do in real life, because people in real life, you don't know if that person's into the thing you're doing until you meet them in that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue with the 10 questions that I have. And if you do not wish to answer a particular question, just say pass and we'll move on to the next one. All right, so question number 1 is, can you describe the first game you ever played, or what you remember as the first game you ever played?
I believe the first game I ever played was probably Duck Hunt. Believe it or
Duck
not,
Hunt?
for the Nintendo. Yes, because we had the combo pack for Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, but because it had the gimmick of the controller as a gun, I thought that was more interesting than using a normal controller. And yeah, it just you gravitate towards that.
I remember playing Duck Hunt. I remember that exact setup there, where it was Mario, the first Mario Brothers, and it was Duck Hunt. That was great. Yeah, I remember going back and forth between both games on the original Nintendo.
Who'd you play as more on it? Did you play as Mario more, or did you play as Luigi?
I think when I was really young, my sister was playing Mario, so I had Luigi. Before I was even playing, though, I would always tell her not to fall in the hole, or things like that while playing.
Yeah.
But then when I was getting old enough to play, I would play as Luigi.
That's so funny, because I had an older sister and she always wanted to be player 1, so she would also be Mario, and then I would be Luigi. But over time, I just, I like the color green, so I'll just play as Luigi. So there was no argument over who wanted to play what.
Yeah, yeah. But I also remember going to Duck Hunt. That was a game. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just a simple game. You shoot ducks, and then the dog shows, hey, this is how many you caught. And then if you miss any, you miss them all, he mocks you because you missed.
Yeah.
And over time, you're like, oh, he's mocking me. I got to get better to show him that I'm doing better job hunting than, the next guy.
Yeah. All right. So, you pretty much answered number 2, which was, what was that feeling like back then? To kind of still answer question number 2. When you were younger and you were playing games, was there a feeling you had with it that you feel currently at your age now is different?
Feeling that's different? Probably when you were younger, you were more hesitant or experimented with things, whereas nowadays you don't do that as often, because you kind of expect that's going to happen. So you do something else that's not, experimenting or hesitant.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, just like when I look back at some of the games like Super Mario Brothers 3 in particular, which is my favorite Mario game, still is. When I look back to the classic graphics of it, I get the huge feeling of nostalgia. I just remember being a kid and playing that game at whatever age I was back then. And I remember things even unrelated to gaming, like I was either at the lake house playing it, or I was at home, and maybe people were making certain types of food and things like that.
What was your favorite power up from Super Mario's 3?
I would have to say that I can't remember the name of it, but the one that would turn you into a statue.
What is that?
Tanuki suit, I believe. Maybe it's that. It would allow you to fly, but it would also allow you to turn into a statue, which would make enemies like ignore you and not come after you.
Okay.
That was great. And I also liked having the boot. Even though that wasn't a power up, being able to get in the boot was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being able to do that.
I wonder if Nintendo's listening, if they do the next Mario Brothers movie, the boot might make an appearance.
That would be great. I would think that would
Yeah.
be so funny seeing that green boot.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Question number 3. Do you have a particular gaming memory you would like to share to the audience?
Gaming memory. It would probably be on I think it was the PlayStation 1 where they had like the demo disc for it where you get a whole bunch of different games because like when I got the PlayStation you didn't know what you got. It just gave you like an example of games you could buy, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to say playing the Sheep Raider game demo for the first time where you have to sneak past the dog as the wolf by using a bush. And if you messed that up and you were too fast and the dog got you, it was the scariest thing. They just hear the train sound coming towards you, and then he just instantly grabs you and just bonks you on the head, and you have to start all over again.
I offhand have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, it is a game. It is out there. It's an old game, but it was. I just remember that. It just sticks with me.
That's great. Yeah, I remember having a PlayStation 1, but for some reason I barely remember any of the games that I played on that. I don't think I could recall one. But that's funny. All right, question 4. What is something positive you believe gaming can do for others?
I believe gaming. Wait, as a positive or negative?
As a positive, like for example, gaming being able to help other people connect with others, or positive things like that. What is something unique to gaming that can help other people?
I'd probably say the best example of that would be playing on the Wii, because back in the day, like the Wii, you would get together and play like Wii Sports, so you could all together play like Wii bowling, Wii boxing, stuff like that. I've gone to people's places before where like there's people I don't even know, but because they're into playing that activity and you're competing with each other, you kind of open up to them to talk.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're in a going to someone's wedding and you don't know anyone at the wedding, you're obviously not going to talk to complete strangers. You're just kind of hang around people that you know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I do agree with that. Yeah.
So that's one example of gaming having an excuse to get people together to open up a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. The next question, let's see. This is going to be an oddball one. Do you believe there is a spiritual connection or some kind of artsy feeling or something, a synonym to spiritual or spirituality that is directly tied to gaming? Here's an example. Some people will see an art piece made by a famous artist, and they will believe that there is some kind of divine or spiritual or high emotion or celestial feeling tied to it.
I would probably have to say that gaming can be a part of that, because like some people discover things through imagery. So if there is a game that has something you've never seen before, and you can have that like, oh, what is this, some mystical element to it. So yeah, I would definitely say it is.
Do you think that you've experienced that? You don't have to specifically share it if you don't want to, but just yes or no, or...
I'd probably have to say no. I haven't really seen anything recent, because in the past I probably might have seen something, but it's been such a long time I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I've experienced moments in my life where gaming has felt like there was some kind of something beyond it, like some kind of larger significance of it. Especially for me, it's especially been with story-based gaming, where like you play a game, it's got a story, but you realize that what it's talking about maybe is more than you originally thought. Um, and for me, some of it is tied to nostalgia too. Like certain games feel like because of when I played them, like Super Mario RPG felt like, whoa, this, like for me, I didn't play a lot of RPG games in the past. I played Mario, but then when I played that, I was like, games can be like this, and so that's my feeling of that.
What about the imagery in Doom? Because I completely forgot about that. That game, oh my gosh! Like even in the early days, I
Yeah.
completely forgot about that. That some of that stuff is just on a different level, I think, for its time.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I feel like even if you took away some of the, because I want to make it where anyone can watch this channel and stuff like that. So
Right.
I won't heavily go into religion. I don't want to offend anybody. But even if you
Right.
took that out for a moment from Doom, Doom did do a thing where it created atmosphere. The original Doom, it made you
Yeah.
feel that where you were was like very immersive compared to previous first-person shooter games like Wolfenstein, which was great too. But Doom did feel very much like you're in this environment. Um, so yeah, I definitely enjoyed playing that game, and I do think that games can lead to that kind of feeling where it's like I'm playing something that's a little bit more than just a game. Like Brotato right here, what we're playing, doesn't really, for me at least, maybe for others it might, but for me it's just
Yeah.
like casual gaming.
Yeah. It's just something you're having fun with and just pass the time.
Yeah.
While other games are a little bit more in depth and you want to progress the story in order to figure out how is this going to end.
Yeah. Currently, the game that is like that for me is Baldur's Gate. That game is up there on my list. This is starting to get difficult, so give me a second and I'll ask you the next question. I'm trying
Yeah,
not to die.
there's a lot of hecticness going on.
All right,
There
there
you
we go.
go.
All right, let's see. So the next question. Um, Question number 6. Is there something you regret with gaming?
That's kind of a tough one. Like regret as in like something you've experienced in it or something that you played to, step your toes in something you're not comfortable with.
Pretty much however you interpret the question is how you can answer it. I know that doesn't really answer your question, but
Right. Uh I mean, if this answers it, I did have a hard time back in the I think it was the early 2000s where if you have a playing online gaming and you don't have a strong connection with, you know, uh, online gaming, like let's say you have a weaker connection because back this is when dial-up was going
yes,
up
yeah.
wireless, and I think you remember it was back then I was having issues with connections all the time.
Yeah.
That was one of the times I was struggling because whenever I was playing games of like that and you have to have an online connection to play them, I was not having a fun time because I just literally everyone was flying around the map and just one-shotting me in games and stuff. So I was like, well, I can't do multiplayer because I can't have any fun with that because connection-based games, you either have to have a decent connection or you can't really get anywhere.
Yeah. And I don't know how, because I do play multiplayer games, but not all the time. I don't know how modern society is when it comes to people that have like less than perfect connection, but I do
Yeah,
recall back then that a lot of people would be like they would get really frustrated, which didn't seem really fair in retrospect about like the level of meanness that some people had with it.
yeah. I do know that's why people always complain about like nowadays people are like, oh, game is not good unless it has dedicated servers so that they can actually, do something about it.
Yeah, yeah. Next question. Let me ask this quick. What do you wish non-gamers would understand with gaming?
They probably understand like how like some stuff in games is similar to what would happen in real life, but it's not exact because it's a video game.
Hmm.
Like if you're playing, what do they call the Cabela's games? Like if someone was interested in big game hunting,
Yes, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you could person gaming could talk about their side of that experience. The person says, "Oh, I did something like that, but I didn't have to go through like the tracking thing. I just kind of went to an area, scoped it out, and then did my process and you did your process." Usually like in gaming, they have it set up so you can hunt that stuff, whereas in like real world hunting, you usually don't get anything most of the time.
Yeah, I
Be-
like that answer actually, like a lot. I so for example, I personally, I do not in real life like hunting or guns or things like that. However, if I was interested in playing a game like that, I could connect with someone where in real life they like to hunt, but they do not like playing games. So by me
yes.
being able to play the game, the hunting game, I could in a way connect with them. That's I like that answer. That was a really yeah, that's good. I agree with that.
Yeah, it comes with my wide variety of testing random stuff.
Yeah. Simple question, question 8. What is your favorite game? Now, if you don't have one particular favorite game, maybe just mention a couple of your favorite games.
If I were to pick one, like one that would stand out to me, mm, I kind of liked Sonic Generations. I don't know. Something about that platforming game. I played it for so much. It was like a big celebration of like the second best known mascot in gaming. And the way they did it, I think they did it right.
Mm,
I don't know if Mario's had any like, celebration of the original title's release like that, or they made just like a new version.
yeah.
But I don't know the way they did that. They did everyone in the fan base liked it. All the casual people liked it, and I feel like it's a game that anyone could get into as long as you're semi interested in like platformer or mascot gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. I do not recall um I know the name. With Sonic Generations, is it similar to the art style of Sonic Mania?
No, it's 3D. It's not 8-bit.
Okay. Was that the one
Main
where they had two Sonics, the modern day looking Sonic and the one in the past?
Yeah, it is the first game they introduced the original Sonic the Hedgehog and the modern Sonic in the exact same game in the same story, and I think it was done very well, connecting past gamers to the more recent players.
Okay. Then yeah, I do remember that then.
Yeah.
Um yeah, for me, I can't narrow it down to one game, but I'll briefly just mention a few. Mario, as I said earlier in this interview, Mario Brothers 3 for the original
Hmm.
Nintendo. I prefer it even over the updated one that came out on the Super NES. I just love the graphics of the older one.
Yeah.
Super Mario RPG and the Land of the Seven Stars, which I'm so excited that they're gonna have it updated on the Switch. And man, there's just way too many that I could say to answer that. Let's see. Next question. There's two more. Is there something you miss from gaming in the past that is not here in the present? For example, maybe it's something that games used to do back in the olden days that they don't really do now.
I really miss games that don't have microtransactions.
Yeah.
I know why they do it. It's because it's just a common theme now. To make people play the game, you update it over time. Whereas back then, you got the base game and that was it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The only other way they were able to change that was when they had games with DLC, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So they would add DLC to add content, but they didn't start doing that till when, like the late '90s.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know when it came out, but I remember playing like Zoo Tycoon
Uh huh.
when that came out, and I feel like that was late '90s, early 2000s, and they had DLC, and like one DLC was they added aquatic animals, and the other one was that they added dinosaurs. And the thing with DLC back then for me was that it felt like it was worthwhile content. It never felt like it was supposed to be there, but they cut it out and repackaged it. And it was definitely nowhere near microtransactions. Like it was just a full addition to the game.
Yeah, like obviously the loot box system is notorious. You get random rewards, so you spend a lot more money than you ever would have wanted to get one item, and you get everything but that item. As an example,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I would say that if they're gonna do DLC, I miss the way that it was back then.
Yeah, like nowadays they do expansions, which expansions are fine, but
Yeah,
DLC for like PC games, like let's add like 2 or 3 more levels to a game at a certain point. Like they did that with Doom Eternal, I believe. They added more to it, but it was a lot more difficult.
yeah,
Now that's fine.
yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
I also miss, and this is really gonna be dating, like adding more to my age. I really miss shareware, and
Wow.
shareware for those that don't know, well, back in the day was mostly just on, I think only on PC, and a great way to explain it is you would have a game like Commander Keen, and you would gain access to several levels for Commander Keen for free. And even if you couldn't ever buy the game, the full game, it still felt like you could play that a good amount of time. Maybe eventually it would become boring because you've beaten it, but you would get a lot of levels, and then it would allow you to dip your toe in without committing to purchasing the game. I loved that so much, and they don't really do that now at all. I mean, the closest you get is demos, but it's not exactly the same. It actually felt like you could have an evening with like the first act of Commander Keen, enjoy it, and then there you go. That's it. So, and here is the last question. All right. So, question number 10. Finally, let us imagine, and this is for you, Peacemaker. Let us imagine that this is the last moment where you can share your words on gaming and how it has impacted your life, like overall. Like you won't receive any other moment. This is it, hypothetically. What would you like to share?
Always try to have a wide diversity of gaming. If you focus on one thing you love too much, you're missing out on things you could have experienced, because then you get super frustrated with one game because, oh, this isn't perfect anymore. Whereas if you branched off to another thing, you can let that go and do something else. Because I've been doing that actually recently myself.
You've been branching out to other games?
I was a heavy Destiny 2 player. I played it since Destiny 1. And I do play it, but I don't play it as hardcore as I used to, because there's just so much changing in that particular game over time that I've done everything I feel myself is capable of. So I've been just kind of pushing it away. And I've been going on to other things. I mean, yes, I have played Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon because it's a game series I played way back on the PlayStation 1 and then it began to 2.
Hmm.
And we haven't had another game for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So seeing that come back, it gives me something to play. Plus, it feels like the gaming I used to do. It was just classic style gaming, and you didn't have to like pay anything extra or whatnot, and you just play until you feel like you don't want to play anymore.
Yeah. And then now you can ask me one question. Any question related to gaming, and I will answer that question. Do you have one?
Could you repeat that, please?
You can ask me any question related to gaming, and I will share my my answer to it.
Question about gaming.
Yeah.
What do you feel is going to be the future of gaming from this point in time? How do you feel like it's going to change?
Let's see. I'll answer that in a couple ways. One, the areas that I think gaming will not significantly change, and watch myself be wrong 30 years down the road. I don't think to the scale that non-virtual reality gaming is right now, because like right now I'm playing this game, it's not virtual reality. A lot of people play a lot of games and it's not virtual reality. I am going to predict that gaming will still be for many, many years, probably even 30 years. It won't be predominantly virtual reality. We're still going to be playing with buttons and moving around and not with like gear on our eyes. We're going to have that. It's going to be in its own niche, that's for sure. But it's not going to be the majority of gaming. I still believe that for probably about 20 to 30 years still, gaming is going to be done where you, the player, are engaged with a screen that's not on your eyes. So that's how I think it's going to stay the same. And how I think it's going to be different is I wish it wouldn't go this way, but I feel like I feel like there's going to be a lot more ways where gaming is just going to continue to get more expensive. Now, what I mean in a good way with this is the recent change of games where they cost $70 instead of $60. I think that's fine. Eventually, because there's so much money that goes into gaming, it makes sense to increase the overall cost of a game because they're getting more and more expensive to make. Technology's getting more and more advanced. That makes sense in my mind. But the bad part is how, as we said earlier, microtransactions and stuff like that, people are starting to have to pay more and more money to be able to play a game. My prediction is that in the future, there's going to be new ways that people are going to have to start paying money. Maybe even ways that we currently at this time are not prepared for. And these are going to be small nickel and diming methods where gamers are going to have to pay money to further play a game that they've already paid for. It's like you pay $60 or $70 to buy a game. You play it for 2 hours, and then something will happen in which you have to pay $5 to continue playing it for that day. That's my prediction. But I feel like that's going to happen not within 10 years. It's going to happen probably slowly over time. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, that sounds pretty much right on the money. I still remember you're talking about the whole virtual reality like not being the mainstream thing. I remember seeing an episode of Futurama, and there was one of the characters was doing virtual reality. I believe it was Fry. He's like, "Oh, virtual reality, it's so cool!" And then one of the people from the future was playing virtual reality. So they were watching themselves do something in reality that was in virtual reality. It was absolutely madness. There's no way we could go that far.
Yeah.
Even though I think it was 1,000 years in the future. So that was just a joke, but I still think that is like a funny nod to that's how wild they think gaming's gonna get.
Yeah, and no at all offense to anyone that watches this that plays virtual reality. I think that it's
Yeah.
a great way to enjoy playing games. It's just I don't predict that it will be the next big thing, like how gaming is for right now. Like I don't think it will be.
There still will be console wars, I think. There's still going to be PC, as far as I know, in the next at least 10, 20 years. Virtual reality, I think, will still be around because they took so much time into developing it to create it for entertainment. Like, I've gone to like a restaurant before and played virtual reality golf. It's like stuff like that. It's little things of interest to keep people there, to spend more money, to buy food.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's there for. It's there for a draw. It's interest. It's a niche.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you want to do.
Yeah, I definitely think that it will still continue to be. And for just like this, I don't know what it's called. I guess analog gaming or the gaming where it's not virtual reality. I think that that will continue to exist for a very long time. I think it will become more expensive over time, but I hope that it'll do it in a way that like makes sense, like what I said before, and not in a way where it's like, I don't know, extremely expensive to get into it. That would be a nightmare if it costs a lot of money to just get into gaming in general.
I mean, unless you're going like hardcore, like doesn't Diablo require you to have like some insane settings for like your console or your PC?
Yes, but I feel in a way they do it well with just a console. If you have a modern console today, you can pay like you can easily enjoy the game. I remember playing Diablo 3 when back in I don't know, it's been several years ago, but I played Diablo 3 and I did it on a console too, and it wasn't bad. Like doing it, it was actually a lot of fun because I had roommates at the time and we were all playing together. Lots of memories with that. But yeah, so it really just depends. I hope that the gate of entry for gaming is not going to be overly intense for people because unless you know you just want to play Brotato all of your life, then you can do that.
I mean, there has been games like that before, like those simple, just shoot 'em up games. What was it called? Something of Isaac was kind of another one of those games.
Yeah,
where, like,
yeah.
The crying child, when you go around, you just shoot a bunch of enemies with tears. It's like that. It's like, I think those games are still going to stick around. They're just kind of like games you can just go to if you don't know what else to do.
Yeah. I mean, I chose this game so I could easily ask you questions.
Yeah, if you were like doing like some hardcore task in some game, you would lose track because you're too busy trying to read what is my next step in the process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's all the questions I got. And is there anything you, Peacemaker, would like to say or plug or any kind of thing like that about you and what you do?
No, I think we got pretty much the gist of it just from asking questions like what do I do? What is my opinions? I think we got most of that wrapped up.
Well, good. I'm glad that I could have you on Game Over Chat. Hi, sorry. Yes, we have a new voice. I was so focused on the game and asking questions. I have my phone out on asking questions, so that's why we have a new. That's why I haven't been on the chat. I apologize. Yes, Um, I'm responding to someone that is always awesome and always comes to all of the streams. Neko, I hope you're doing well. I will be streaming in a little bit, like what I normally do. But I wanted to experiment with a interview chat. So, other than that, I believe that's it for Game Over Chat. I love the name because it's like, this is your final chat about gaming, hypothetically. Not really.
Yeah.
So, hope to see you around again, Peacemaker, for something completely unrelated.
Yep. Thank you for having me. It was lots of fun talking about, our experiences and our past and possible future.
Yep. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And for everyone else, I plan on doing this every so often. So yeah, just check out the video, the live stream at the beginning, and you can kind of get a rough idea as to how the true end game. Yes, that is what it is. You can get a rough idea of how it works. But I'll be back in probably about 10 to 15 minutes, and I will resume my normal streaming on this very rainy Saturday. But I'll chat with you all later. Bye, Peacemaker, and bye, everybody.